At the party, she glanced at me and let out a cold laugh. Your kind of niceness only embarrasses me. A man who's too gentle is useless. I didn't argue. Didn't talk back. I only caught her mother's eyes flicker with quiet shame on my behalf. I quietly greeted her family and left before the party even ended, without a single explanation. She thought I walked out because I was hurt. But a few days later, she was the one standing at my door, sobbing, clutching a stack of expenses she never imagined. My name is Ethan. I'm 29, and I work in finance. Nothing special about my life. I go to the office in the morning, come home to my small apartment at night, spend weekends reading or seeing a few close friends. I don't drive a luxury car, I don't wear a six-figure watch, and I'm not competing with anyone. I like living neatly. My apartment is always clean, my bookshelves are organized by topic, and my bank account always has enough savings that I don't panic if something unexpected happens. I don't need anyone to be impressed by what I own. I just need to look in the mirror and know I don't owe anyone anything. I'm gentle. People often say I'm too nice. But to me, being kind is simply the way I believe is right. Anna was the opposite of me. She was 27, bright and dazzling in any room she walked into. She loved places with lights and music, elegant outfits, and aesthetic pictures on social media. She liked being praised as someone with taste, liked being the center of attention. In the beginning, I was drawn to that radiance, and Anna said she felt safe with my calmness. At first, those two worlds balanced each other out. But over time, the differences slowly turned into distance. What Anna had no idea about was that the same gentleness and stability she gradually started to despise were exactly what had been quietly holding her entire family up for a year. When her family couldn't afford her sister Anna's university tuition, I was the one quietly transferring money each month, my name on every receipt. When Anna pulled a stupid prank that almost got her expelled, I was the one who went to the school multiple times, met with her homeroom teacher, the board, wrote a formal appeal, and begged them to give her another chance. When Anna applied for an internship, I sat with her for several nights in a row, correcting her portfolio, CV, and cover letter line by line so the application would look more professional. When I learned Anna's parents were drowning in old debts, I volunteered to help them research and organize all the paperwork at the bank, explained each clause, rescheduled payments to avoid penalties. At one point, there was a small loan that would have ballooned if it wasn't dealt with in time, and I became guarantor so they wouldn't be hit with more fees. I did all of that in silence. I never told Anna. I didn't keep receipts to pull out later. I didn't want to turn love into a transaction, and I didn't want her to feel indebted. To me, loving someone naturally meant sharing their burdens. Not cashing it in later. But Anna started to change. She went from simple coffee hangouts with regular friends to fancy parties with people who were more successful, better connected. Her stories were full of wine glasses, expensive dinners, and photos with men in suits, talking in big numbers. She started comparing. Yeah, nice guys are safe, but honestly, they're boring. Have you ever thought about doing something bigger? Look at those guys, you can tell they're on another level just by hearing them talk. My friends say overly gentle men are only good as safe husbands, not partners to grow with. She said it like a joke, but every time, her eyes would subconsciously flick toward me. I heard it. I understood it. But I stayed quiet. I didn't need her to worship me. I just wished she wouldn't use my kindness as a reason to put me down. Everything exploded at graduation party. The house was packed that night. Relatives from both sides, a few acquaintances of her parents, and that elite friend group Anna always bragged about were all there. The air was loud with laughter, clinking glasses, and inflated stories about big future plans. Anna was glowing in a new dress, new shoes, with a confident smile. She was like an artist on her own stage, and I was just the guy standing behind the curtain, quietly watching. I heard her lean over to whisper to a friend, "That Europe trip? I'll probably go with them. I'm not sure Ethan would fit the vibe." We had never once discussed that trip. But apparently, I didn't exist in that version of her future. While everyone was talking, a middle-aged man, a friend of her father's, turned to me, half joking, half serious, "Ethan, still in that same finance job? A guy this soft probably has a hard time moving up, huh?" A few people chuckled. Before I could answer, Anna stepped in, hooked her arm around his, and gave a forced laugh. "Oh, don't tease him, uncle. Him being that nice just embarrasses me." The room froze for a second. Then, as if she hadn't gone far enough, she added, clearly and sharply, "A man who's too gentle is useless." The air got sucked straight out of the room. People weren't looking at me out of curiosity anymore. It was that stunned, awkward gaze reserved for when you watch someone's dignity get stripped in public. Anna's mother stood near the back. Her face went pale. Her eyes darted between her daughter and me, full of quiet sorrow. Her father forced a laugh and tried to change the subject, but it was too late. The cruelest part, on the same day she stood in front of a crowd and laughed, "A man who's too gentle is useless." Ethan had just finished the last step to keep her sister from being suspended. Anna slid down to the floor, her phone slipping from her hand. For the first time in her life, she understood, the man she called useless was the only pillar holding her world up. A week later, Anna found the address of my new place. When I opened the door, I didn't see the radiant girl in the perfect dress with flawless makeup I used to take to parties. I saw Anna with messy hair, dark circles under exhausted eyes, and skin pale from sleepless nights. "Ethan, please. I'm sorry. I was wrong." Her voice shook like it could collapse at any moment. I leaned against the doorframe, hand still on the handle, not inviting her in. "What did you come here to say?" She gripped her handbag so tight her knuckles turned white, then everything spilled out. I can't pay the tuition, the bank keeps calling, they're talking about suspending my sister, they said everything was under your name before, everything until now, was you." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know. I honestly didn't know you did all that. Ethan. I need you." She reached her hand toward mine, like she was reaching for the last lifeline. I stepped half a step back. Just half, but the distance between us was now something no one could cross. "Anna," I said, my voice calm to the point of cruelty, "you don't need me. You need the useless guy you joked about to come back and fix everything for you." Tears streamed down her face. "I was wrong, please don't leave me, don't make me face all of this alone." I looked straight into her eyes, not looking away. "I faced all of it alone for a year. You survived 3 days, and fell apart." That reality knocked the strength out of her. Anna dropped to her knees right there in front of my door, her body shaking. "Ethan, please. I really need you." I bent down slightly and said, softly but firmly, "If I'm really as useless as you said, then you don't need me at all." Then I turned, walked inside, and closed the door. Her sobs, her broken voice calling my name echoed down the hallway. "I need you. Ethan, please. I need you." But that door never opened again. I had spent a year holding her family upright. It was time for her to learn how to stand on her own 2 feet. A year later, I sat in my new office, high up in a building downtown. I'd been promoted. Higher position, better salary, more responsibility, but this time, the work didn't feel like a burden weighing me down. Because this time, everything I did was for the life I was building for myself. Not to prove my worth to someone else. I'd also just signed the contract for my first house. Not huge, but mine. Not a place I stayed in for someone else's convenience, a home I chose for myself. And I wasn't alone anymore. Emily, the woman curled up on my couch reading, occasionally looking up to smile at me, wasn't as flashy as Anna. But for the first time, I saw something in her eyes that had never existed in Anna's, respect. She didn't need me to act macho. She didn't need me to put on a show with money or status to match her image. She accepted me as I was. When she heard a rough outline of what happened with Anna, Emily only said, "A gentleman isn't useless. A gentleman who stays standing after being treated like that, is strong." For the first time, my kindness didn't feel like a flaw to be mocked. It felt like something placed exactly where it belonged. As for Anna, her profile looks different now. No more photos of designer bags, fancy wine, or captions mocking nice guys. Her page is quiet, sparse, empty in a way that feels hollow. One night, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "Ethan, how have you been? I'm sorry. I wish I'd never said those things." I stared at the message for a moment. No anger. No satisfaction. No pity. Just peace. That part of my life wasn't around anymore. It was a stretch of road I'd needed to walk to understand what I deserved, and who truly deserved to walk beside me. I put the phone down. Emily looked up and asked, "Done with work? Come here, I've got something funny to tell you about my day." I smiled and walked over to sit beside her. Anna once had the chance to be the person sitting there. But she threw that chance away herself, with one single sentence at that party: "A man who's too gentle is useless." And now, maybe she finally understands, the man she once looked down on, has become the man she will never be able to reach again. I didn't say a word. I looked at Anna. I wasn't angry. I wasn't disappointed. I just saw clearly. And the thought in my head was simple and calm: I don't belong here anymore. I stood up and walked toward her mother. "Ma'am, I'll head out first. I have to work early tomorrow." I bowed slightly, gave a faint smile, then turned and walked out of the house. "No, why would you say that? No, how could you treat me like this?" Just the sound of my footsteps moving across a room that had been full of noise a moment ago, now completely silent. When I got back to the apartment, I didn't turn on the lights at first. I stood in the dark for a while, listening to the low hum of the air conditioner, smelling the familiar scent of the place I called home. I had once thought this would be where we began our future. That night, the apartment only showed me one thing: I was the only one who had ever truly treated it like home. I flipped on the light, opened the closet, and pulled down my suitcase. I folded my clothes and packed my things. I didn't touch any of Anna's belongings. I didn't leave a long dramatic note. I put my keys on the table. I slipped the rental contract into an envelope, sealed it, and added a small note: landlord's number. "From now on, you handle it." That night, I texted the broker: "Is that apartment you showed me last time still available?" "Yes, it is. If you want it, I'll hold it for you." "Hold it. I'll send the deposit tomorrow." I had spent a year straining to hold up someone else's family. I wasn't going to spend one more day doing that for someone who called it useless. Meanwhile, Anna came home drunk on wine and riding the high of being above it all. She opened the door and called out, "Ethan? Where are you?" No answer. The apartment was dark. She turned on the light and felt something was off. Some of my things were gone. The closet was missing half its contents. The mug I always used was no longer on the shelf. Instead of panicking, her pride spoke first. She called her best friend, put her on speaker. He left. Honestly, it makes sense. A gentle, useless guy like that could never stand next to me anyway. They laughed. A few minutes later, she posted a status: "People who aren't worthy will remove themselves." Sparkles, comments poured in: "Yes, queen. Gentle men are trash. Thought nice guys were good? Girl, no." There were clapping emojis, hearts, fire emojis. Anna leaned back on the couch, feeling like she'd just freed her life. She didn't know that at that exact moment, I was on the phone with homeroom teacher and the bank, saying something very simple: from now on, I can't continue paying tuition or guaranteeing any loans for Anna's family. Please contact her parents directly. Right after that, I signed the form to withdraw my guarantor status. Not because I wanted revenge, but because there was no reason left for me to carry burdens that were never truly mine. 3 days later, Anna's phone wouldn't stop ringing. On the other end was homeroom teacher, her voice serious. "Anna, I'm calling about the upcoming semester's tuition. Ethan just informed me he won't be able to continue supporting your family." Anna froze. I'm sorry, what? Tuition? Ethan, supporting? The teacher paused, realizing how strange that sounded. You really didn't know? For the past year, he's been the one directly paying Anna's tuition. Not only that, all the paperwork to keep your sister from being suspended? He's the one whose name is on those too. He just submitted a request to withdraw as guarantor, so the school needs your parents to come in immediately. Anna's hand turned ice cold. Previous payments? What do you mean? I'm emailing you all the documents from the last year. Everything Ethan has done to keep your sister from being expelled, to pay tuition, to stop your family from falling into debt. I assumed you knew. The email came in. She opened it. A long PDF appeared, dozens of pages. Every page was a slap across her ego. Payment receipts, month after month, with Ethan's name on them. A handwritten letter from Ethan to the disciplinary board, pleading for Anna to be given another chance. Meeting records with the bank showing, representative, Ethan, guarantor, Ethan. Paperwork for a small loan that, if ignored, would have snowballed, all under his name. Email threads where he meticulously edited Anna's internship application. All with dates. All with Ethan's name. All of them were things she had never known, never asked about, never cared to notice.